welcome back to Challenge the Call with Max and Avery. I'm your host, Max.
And I'm Avery. How are you guys?
So, we technically missed last week's episode. I know I said we would record again Friday, but fortunately for us, Iowa had a bye, and the Bears, as we know, played on Thursday, so we didn't truly miss any content. So we're going to bring you that content right now in today's episode. Avery, how's it going?
It's going good, man. How are you? How's everything?
Not too bad. I know you're back on a bit of a fitness journey for yourself. I've been on one for the past few weeks, getting in the weight room again, so glad to hear.
Yeah, it feels good. You know, I'm missing out on a little bit of sleep, but it's kind of well worth it at the end of the day. Just kind of get your day started off right, you know, so.
Definitely. But, all right, we'll go straight into our first segment here with a notable game recap. We are going to do just the last week's game. I know we obviously aren't going to recap anything from a couple weeks ago, but that's just because that's too old. I don't even remember who was playing then. So the first game I wanted to talk about that I think is big talks all over the NFL, Bills versus Chiefs. Bills pulled it out 24-20, finally beat the Chiefs. Avery, what did you think of that game?
You know, it's a redemption game for Josh Allen. You know, last year it was devastating. Ended with 13 seconds left in the game, and Patty came down and he scored. But to see Josh Allen come out victorious last weekend, it really showed, like, hey, you know, the Bills are legit. The Bills are Super Bowl contenders. What do you think?
Definitely. No, I loved the Bills in this game. I was rooting for them. I thought they were going to win the whole time. Arguably should have won last year in the playoffs, but thanks to some wonky overtime rules, you know, I truly do think the Bills are the better team, and especially the Chiefs without Tyreek and everything this year. Obviously, you know, they're not at full power, and the Bills are just awesome. I think the Bills are easily Super Bowl champs right now. Just like in their head, they just played a Super Bowl and they won it. So they're on a high, and they're keeping that momentum going for the rest of the season.
The AFC is pretty tough this year. And the only bad thing about the Bills, they're great, but they play in a really tough division in the AFC East. Like, they play in extremely tough. The Bills are solid, the Jets are solid, Dolphins are solid, and the Patriots are hanging in there. Like, it's a really good division. So, you know, hopefully the Bills can, you know, win it outright, and I hope they look solid.
Yeah, that's the thing. It is a tough division, but are the Bills are also winning it right now, aren't they? Dolphins have trailed off the past couple weeks without Tua, and I mean the Jets are the Jets, so I can't imagine they're leading the Bills.
That division is, I'm pulling up their standings right now.
All right. But yeah, just because, you know, like, I haven't tracked, like, that division outside of the Bills, really, but I know the Jets are doing surprisingly good, and we'll get to that, but I can't imagine that they're over the Bills in record. Dolphins were the only team that I think questionably could have been, but without Tua the past 2-3 weeks, however long it's been, if he's not even back yet, I don't even know. But I think Bills are leading it right now, aren't they?
Yes, so the Bills are 5-1. The Jets are 4-2. The Dolphins are 3-3, and the Patriots are 3-3. So they're all within 2 games of that division, and they're all winning records. Well, 3-3, but still winning records for the most part, and they're all capable teams to win that division. The Bills just can't falter this year because they have the best team by far in the division, but they can't falter.
Definitely, and I do think they hold out. Like, having the lead right now, I don't know exactly what their schedule looks like coming up, but I think they can beat just about any other team they're going to play, even if they lose up by 1 game and end up tying record with the Dolphins. Did the Dolphins play the Bills? They beat them, didn't they? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
Yeah, they
Dolphins beat
no,
the
yeah,
Bills.
Dolphins
Yeah.
beat the Bills. They play them
Yeah.
at the end of the year, though.
If the Dolphins won out and the Bills had one screw up, one loss, I guess Dolphins would take it because of that head-to-head matchup. But I think the Bills hold out fine. I think if anything, the Dolphins will lose a couple more games. The Bills maybe drop one that just they don't try their absolute best. I think they take this conference. I don't think they'll have too much of a struggle with it. But some of our other
I agree.
notable games. Sorry, some of our other notable games. The NFL just feels really backwards right now, and what I mean by that is I'm gonna list off some games here that happen. Giants Ravens. The Giants beat the Ravens 24-20. The Jets, who we were just talking about, beat the Packers 27-10. Steelers beat the Bucks 20-18, and the Falcons beat the 49ers 28-14. If I gave you those four games and said, "Hey, pick them," are you picking like those four to beat those other four?
Not at all. And I want to give a shout out to the New York football teams right now because Buffalo is 5-1, the Giants are 5-1, and the Jets are 4-2. That's incredible. Like the NFL, but no, like going back to your original question, I would not be picking these guys. I would not have. I would have picked the Ravens. I would have picked the Packers. I would have picked the Bucks. And the only question mark I might have picked the Falcons as a trendy pick because they're not always like one of the worst teams in the league. They were good a couple of years back. So yeah, maybe I would have picked the Falcons to beat the 49ers. But 3 out of the 4 teams, definitely not. Definitely not. But it's incredible, man. It's incredible.
Yeah, definitely. Those are definitely some parlay busters right there. Like if anyone had any of those games lined up in their parlay, like they just got fucked. And that, I mean, yeah, I'm shout out to Brees Hall. Like the Jets doing good. I know he just went there. I was a little concerned about like, oh man, going to a shitty team. Like that's a shitty thing for anybody. But no, he's going there. He's making an impact, and the Jets are doing well, and the Packers are seemingly not. I don't know their record, but I know they came out with their opener against the Vikings and just got dicked, and then now they just lost to the Jets. So I don't know. The Packers don't seem like the top-notch team that they are typically,
Right. And I want to say something too. The Packers, they are 3-3, which very average this year. The Vikings are winning our division right now. They're 5-1. I'm pretty sure we predicted that at the beginning of the year. And then the Bears are only one game behind Green Bay in the division. And that sounds crazy, right? We're 2-4. One game away from Green Bay. So, like, it's kind of cool to see, like, even though we suck, so does our division. So it makes me feel a little bit better. But going on to the Giants and the Jets, I just want to talk about this real quick. That's the blueprint I want to see in Chicago. The Jets' blueprint. They've been bad for like 3 to 4 or 5 years, and you can tell the draft picks are finally hitting. They finally have their quarterback, their running back, their defense is stout, and you see it finally, and they have a coach that can put it all together, which is a defensive coach that reminds me a lot of Matt Eberflus, and they're finally putting it together with Robert Saleh. And that's something I want for Chicago, and I hope we can follow the Jets' blueprint.
Definitely. That is definitely what we need to do. It's possible. Other teams are showing that like it's easily possible, so hopefully soon here it'll start paying off in the next season or two. But speaking of the Bears, we will move into our main segment for today, Bear Central. All right, so this week the Bears played the Commanders, as we talked about last Thursday. The Bears actually lost to the Commanders 12-7, which I don't think anyone, none of us at least, foresaw coming. Avery, how do you feel about this game? How did you feel about it?
I am depression. No. The Bears, I didn't even see progress, to be honest. I really didn't see progress in this game. I know we've mentioned we're okay with losing as long as we see progress this year. But I didn't see a single, ounce of, okay, this has potential. I mean, the cool thing is Justin Fields did drive us down the field at the end of the game, and Darnell Mooney couldn't catch the game-winning touchdown. And that's all I really got to say about this game because it was pathetic showing by Chicago. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think that I also am real upset about this game. And like you said, progress is such a big part of it. And I don't think we showed any progression from where we were last week. We continue to be able to make a couple drives here and there, but we just don't sustain anything. We don't show consistency throughout a game of high caliber play, and that's my biggest issue. Is we see some flashes of the good of what could be, but as long as they're only flashes, it's nothing to be excited about in my head.
Yeah, I agree. At the end of the day, we were in the red zone 4 times. We were in the red zone 4 times, and we came away with 1 touchdown.
That is the most defeating thing.
That's not
ever.
enough.
We cannot be that close to scoring and not put in anything. We didn't have a single touchdown in the game. We have 12 points and not a single touchdown. That's sad.
Yeah, and can I just say I'm ready to give up on the Velus Jones project? Because he fumbled away the game once again. I know he's your boy, and he's a rookie, but he should not be a kick returner for us. And I know he was a great kick returner in Tennessee. But I'm ready to give up on Velus Jones. At least not I've seen a couple of things on offense, but he's played 2 games, and I haven't seen anything special.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as a receiver, I think he can still grow into a decent receiver spot. As a punt returner, kick returner, I don't know. He needs to calm down, I think. I think he's a little too antsy to get out, and he's not catching the ball first, And the one that happened, not this last one, but the one that happened the first time, it looked like he started running before the ball had even touched him. So by the time the ball was getting to him, it was bouncing off his shoulder pad. Hey, calm down, catch the ball, take a second to catch the ball if you need it, and then you can, advance it down the field. I think he's just in too much of a rush to, try to have a big return in the NFL, big career opener, look what I can do. That he needs to get back to his roots, his fundamentals, secure the ball first, and then move on from there. But yeah, I'm giving up on the Bears a little bit on this season as a whole. If we can't beat the Commanders, I don't know if we win a single other game this season.
Yeah, and that brings us to our Monday night opponent, the New England Patriots. How do you feel?
It's going to be a little rough. The Patriots obviously aren't the same Patriots they were with Brady. They've obviously gone a little bit downhill. They're not as great as a team anymore, but it's still Bill Belichick. It's still the, New England Patriots. They're still a good team. I mean, 3-3, I consider that a winning record in my book if you're 500. So, winning record, yeah, we're only 1 game off from them, but I mean, if you look at who we've played too, I think our wins, Texans, and who else did we beat?
49ers, monsoon
Niners.
game.
Ah, yes. So that game was just a weather fuck up opening of the season. The Texans, arguably the worst team in the league, beat them. Should have. Commanders, maybe the second word. They're in the bottom 5. Not to say that we're not there too, because we obviously are. But if we can't pull it out against teams like that, we're not pulling it out against an average team like the Patriots. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah. Well, I want to talk. You mentioned something that we're pretty average. But going into it, we could be easily 4-2. We could have a 4-2 record. The Giants game got away from us, and the Commanders game got away from us. And instead of sitting at 2-4, we could be 4-2 because we played the Giants competitively and we played Washington competitively. We should have won both those games, and they both happened with the Velus Jones fuck up, unfortunately. But let's move on to the Patriots. Like you were saying, Bill Belichick, consistent. And they aren't the Patriots old, but I'm curious about who's going to start on Monday night. Is it going to be Mac Jones or is it going to be Bailey Zappi? That's intriguing because Bailey Zappi's won the last 2 out of 3 games for the Patriots. And he's a late round pick, just like Brady, everybody, and he's played really well and really good football for being a rookie. And there's a QB controversy in New England again. So I don't know if you followed that much, but what are your thoughts on that?
No, I haven't followed the Patriots at all. I remember initially, I don't even know what happened to Mac Jones. I remember seeing Billy Zappi out there slinging it around like, who the fuck is this guy? Where's Jones at? But, I mean, Billy Zappi's been doing good, so I don't know if Bill Belichick, being the kind of guy he is, continues to play Zappi with Mac Jones coming back. Obviously, Mac Jones is more experienced. He's more of the veteran guy. It's not like there's anything wrong with what Mac Jones was doing. I think he's arguably still the better quarterback, or at least your starting quarterback at this time, because, I don't know, Billy Zappi's won 2 of the last 3 games, but I don't know. It's hard to say. All I can think about is the Cooper Rush, Dak Prescott situation, which I don't even know what's going to happen there, but I've actually followed the Cowboys a little bit more. I watched Cooper Rush play more. The Zappi Jones situation, I really have no idea. I don't think Zappi outpaces Jones just from an experience standpoint, and Bill Belichick being the guy he is, being a guy of, like you said, consistency and experience, the 2 big things that the Bears lack. I think that they go back with Jones when Jones, or at least split reps. If anything, Jones is going to get some reps in there to come back.
I agree. I really do agree. But with the Bears though, against the Patriots, I don't know why they keep putting us on primetime football. I'm tired of primetime football. We've had 3 primetime games in a row. Or not in a row, but this season, and what in the heck? Stop putting us on primetime football. I'm tired of getting on national television and us embarrassing ourselves. We are not good enough to be on national television under the bright lights. I'm sorry, that was my TED Talk.
No, I definitely agree with that to a degree. When we're just getting embarrassed and it's on primetime TV, it's like, oh, great. Now the whole world can watch, how badly we suck right now. But my one upside to always being on primetime right now for us is just I don't get to watch games that aren't on primetime. So the Bears actually playing primetime means I actually get to sit down and just fully watch the game. So I'm okay with it. I'm not going to take too many issues to, oh, cool, Monday night, I'll actually get to watch, Hey,
and I don't blame you there. I really don't. I mean, especially if schedule restraints happen like that, I 100% agree. So what are you taking Bears plus 7.5, or is this going to be a blowout? What do you think?
So the Bears are obviously underdogs, getting 7.5 points. And the over/under is 39.5. I don't know much about the Patriots, but I feel like this is an over type of game. I feel like the over happens. I think easily whether the Pats do it or the Bears, throw 14 on the board. I think the over can hit. The Bears lose. I don't know if they lose by 7.5 per se. They might be able to keep it closer than that, but I would just say Bears money line, like they take the L. What do you think?
I think the Bears will lose 31-10. It's going to be another embarrassing night. I think the Patriots offense is going to score, and I also think there might be a defensive touchdown by the Patriots this week. And that would also have the over hit. So I would take the over on it, but I'd probably take, I would take Patriots minus 7.5, to be honest. I wouldn't even bet on the Bears. I'm just nervous, man. Bill Belichick's a good coach, and it's just consistency, like we mentioned. Consistency. I'm scared to face a consistent football team that does all the little things right.
Yep.
They might not have the best talent, but they do all the little. Yeah, they do all the little things right.
And we don't have, that is the one thing the Bears lack right now. It's almost the opposite teams. Like, a consistent team is playing a very inconsistent team, and that causes trouble.
Correct. Yeah. Well, I think that kind of wraps up Bear Central.
All right, we will get into our college segment a little bit. First things first, we're going to talk some notable games in college football. It's like Tennessee beating Alabama 52-49. Alabama's not even in the football playoffs anymore. They're not even top four. Avery, what'd you think about Tennessee pulling out the dub there?
Rocky Top Nation. Oh, man. Tennessee, man. What an exciting team to watch. Hendon Hooker, great quarterback. He's performed out of his mind this year. And just seeing a team beat Alabama is so satisfying. So satisfying. What were your thoughts?
That's definitely how I feel too. Anytime anybody beats Alabama, I'm kind of like, yeah, fuck Alabama. But I think it's crazy. I don't know how long it's been since Alabama didn't make the college football playoffs, and obviously I think there's a bit of an asterisk there because I think come end of season they could easily work their way back into it, at least in a number 4 spot. They were missing Bryce Young during that game, weren't they? So Tennessee won, yep. But also to backup quarterback. So there are obviously asterisks all over the place. Like, hey, backup QB, Bryce Young wasn't in. I think Bama probably gets back to playoff contention spot. But, yeah, anytime Bama loses, I'm somewhat of a satisfied man. It's the same reason I've always hated the Patriots is I hate those teams that just win all the time. If that were ever the Bears, I would love it, obviously, but a part of the excitement of football is, hey, change things up. I want to see some new guys getting in there, being the winners, being the champs, doing good,
Right. And I want to ask you, is Tennessee overrated?
I don't know. I don't know jack shit about Tennessee. Never really watched them. Never paid any attention to them.
All right. Well, the only reason I say that is because they play Georgia in 2 weeks. And I think that's going to be more of a real test than Alabama was. Because Georgia's probably the best team in the SEC. But moving on to Michigan and Penn State. A little Big Ten play. Both were undefeated coming into the game. I thought it would be a closer game. Michigan looks poised to go back to the college football playoffs. I think they'll give Ohio State a run for their money. But what do you think? What do you think of Michigan?
I like Michigan. Michigan has been doing good past couple of years. Blowing out Penn State doesn't really surprise me very much. I think Penn State's a little overrated. You look at the past couple of years, and it's like they're good, they're up there, but they lose to Iowa to give Iowa up to a number 2 spot last year. They get blown out by Michigan, who obviously Michigan is ranked very high this year. I think they're are they 1 or 3?
3.
3?
They're 3.
So, they're number 3 right now. Penn State's not that high, so obviously it is more of a contract. But still, I'm not entirely surprised. I think Penn State's a little overrated. I don't think they're truly as good as they're ever fully ranked. So, yeah, I like Michigan being in there. I like Big Ten teams, representing college football playoffs. We got 2 of them. They're 2 Big Ten, 2 SEC right now, which is the way the world's going to be real soon anyway. So, yeah, I'm proud of Michigan to a slight degree. I'm more proud that, when Iowa played Michigan, I think we held on decently well to keep it a relatively, competitive game. So seeing Michigan blow out Penn State like that, thoughts back to the Iowa game, hey, I'm glad this wasn't Iowa's score. This was Penn State's, because fuck them.
Right. Yeah. Talking about another Big Ten team I'm proud of, because they've been a bottom dweller in the Big Ten for so many years. The number 18th ranked Illinois Fighting Illini. They continue their hot streak against Minnesota, and they won 26-14. What do you think?
Minnesota was supposed to be a sleepy good team too this year. Minnesota was, I think, projected to questionably win the conference, or the west side of the conference this year. They're definitely not a team to sleep on, but Illinois, I don't know where this is coming from. Last year, Illinois just seemed like, same old Illinois, and all of a sudden they come out this year and just have been dogging people. So, yeah, I'm surprised. I don't know if I'm necessarily proud of them per se, because it's hard. It's hard to be proud of Illinois, of all people, when, I feel like there's something of a rivalry there. Yeah, well, we just lost to them, and I feel like there's something of a rivalry there with Iowa. So, as much as it'd be almost like a Nebraska if Nebraska was doing super well and stuff. I wouldn't necessarily be proud. I would only be this should be Iowa, fuck Nebraska, whatever. I think it's because they're in our side of the conference. I can reasonably be like, right, okay, Ohio State, Michigan, doing great, East Side, whatever. But now we're coming over to the West Side against teams that we play every year consistently, teams that we should be beating and that we have beaten every year for I don't know how long, and now we just aren't. And so...
Well, I agree. But I think the reason I am supporting Illinois is I lived in Illinois for a good portion of my childhood. And so I was surrounded by Illinois fans, and I was surrounded during the worst times to be an Illinois fan. And so, just seeing that and seeing, how it's got to be buzzing in Illinois right now, it's kind of cool, just to see that aspect of it. So maybe that's why I have a little bit of a soft spot for Illinois. But I am kind of glad to see them at 5-1.
That's fair. That just makes me think. So you're saying Illinois sucked while you were there, and then you left, and now they're doing a little better? Is that what I'm hearing?
I guess so. Yeah.
Now you're in
Nebraska.
Now you're in Omaha, and remind me how Nebraska's doing lately.
Well, maybe I just need to go.
I don't want to make any assumptions here, but I'm noticing a trend, if you ask me.
Bad teams follow, I guess. I don't know. I'll never move to Chicago, okay? I won't move back to Iowa. We'll be fine. I'll just stay out of those states. I'll be a fan from afar.
Oh
Oh.
man! Speaking of bad teams, I hate to say it, but let's recap the Iowa-Illinois game. Iowa lost 9-6. No touchdowns in the entire game because why would that fucking happen? My big thing with this loss
It's an Iowa
is,
football game.
My big thing with the loss is it came to a backup quarterback. Illinois' backup quarterback. We lost to a backup on Illinois. What did you think about this game?
Someone had to win that game, right? Someone had to win that game. That's how I feel about that game. Because it looked like for the longest time, nobody wanted to win that damn game.
Yeah.
Like, Illinois, they did pull it out 9-6, but were they deserving of it? I wouldn't agree. And I know I just talked up Illinois, but I don't know, like, it was just an ugly game. An ugly game.
Yeah, and here's the hard part too is you can still see Iowa's defense shining through. You know, like 9-6. If you hold a team to 9 points, like if I told you, hey, these two teams played each other and the one team held the other to 9 points, who do you think won that game? The one that held the other team to 9 points. But no, like if you're only putting up 6 yourself, like you don't win games that way. Like the defense is still doing awesome. Like 5-1 Illinois, they're ranked number 18. You said 9 points to 18th ranked team. That's great. That's fantastic. Holding teams under 10, holding teams to single digits should win you games. But if you have an offense like Iowa's, quarterback like Petrus, just a coordinator like Brian Ferentz, you don't win those games because you yourself can't get out of double digits on even the average of defenses. So,
Right, yeah.
Continue.
And you can say the same thing about if I told you, hey, you know, this team's going to hold the team to 12 points, you would think they would win, right? 12 points,
Yes.
Not much different than 9 points. Same with Chicago. Defense shines bright, offense fails.
And
We are essentially...
We are
Go ahead.
essentially, yeah. We are essentially like, you know, NFL team, college team, all the same. But I know Chicago's defense is good for sure, but I don't even think if you are getting truly comparatively, like with Iowa, they've got the case worse because Iowa doesn't have a good defense. They have a top 5 like college playoff caliber defense, and they're just playing with a brain dead offense. The Bears defense is good. The Bears defense definitely shines brighter than the offense, but just I think Iowa has such more contrast between the two. You know what I mean?
I agree. And I'm really scared about next week. I know we just came off a bye, but I'm scared about next week. We play number 2 Ohio State.
So, getting into this upcoming game, Iowa, Ohio State obviously makes me nervous too. Number 2 college football team against, you know, Iowa, who is 3-3 right now. Ohio State obviously 6-0, no surprise there. Ohio State is favored by 29.5 points. The over/under is 49.5. Avery, what's your predictions on that? Give me your take for that game.
I think we keep it within 29.5 because our defense is not going to give up more than 29.5 points. I don't think, at least. And if they do, our offense will compensate with at least a touchdown, maybe a field goal. I think we lose 35-10. I know that sounds like I'm being real positive about that, but I feel like that is pretty positive facing the number 2 team, Ohio State. What are your thoughts, Max?
I was having the exact same thoughts, honestly. I was just talking about it with my dad and our friend Nick last night. That if when you look at Iowa's defense, they can get the job done. Like I said, they are a college football caliber defense. They played Michigan and held Michigan to 27 points. Ohio State, questionably going to be a little better than Michigan. You're talking number 2 and number 3. But still, like, right, number 2 and number 3, almost interchangeable there. Giving Ohio State's offense a little bit more credit than that, my prediction was around 31-6. I don't know if we score, or 31-9, 31-6 to 9, somewhere in there. I don't know if we necessarily score a touchdown. I think we get in field goal range and hit a couple field goals at least, whether it's like one big pass to Laporta, blown coverage moment, or an awesome kick return, punt return. Yeah, right. Kick return, something like that. I think there's a couple situations in that game where we get into field goal range, we pop off a couple field goals. I think we can hold them right around 30 points. I'm gonna say 31 is my landmark. 4 touchdowns, 1 field goal. I think they can do it. And so I would take Iowa to cover. I would take Iowa to cover 29.5.
Let me ask you something. What would it take for Iowa to win against Ohio State? Win outright. What would it take?
Benching Pietrus and letting somebody else call plays.
Okay. You don't think a couple of defensive touchdowns could flip the script?
No.
Or do you think that's not even enough? Like
No,
against
it's
Rutgers,
not
right?
enough.
We had 2 defensive touchdowns.
Yeah, and
You don't think it's enough?
There's a question that if it happened early, if it happened real early in the game, if we took the lead like off the bat, could we hold on to some of that momentum, crush Ohio State a little bit, get them feeling down and bad about themselves? I don't think it happens. I think they know what they are, and they're obviously a good team and know they're going to win this game. So I think even with the momentum advantage, I think even if we went up 14-0, couple awesome defensive touchdowns right off the gate, I think they are consistent and understanding enough that we are going to win this game. Like, let's go pull it out right now. Iowa doesn't win it. They don't. They don't have a chance. There's no way they win this. I would be surprised even. My Iowa win to me mentally is if this became a 1 to 2 possession game. If this was a 2 possession game, in my head, that's where I'm thinking, holy shit, like, I was making some progress. I was doing something right. Like, number 2 football team in the country right now, 2 possession game, to me, that's as good as it's going to get for Iowa right now.
I agree. I was going to say the same thing. If, even if we do have a couple of defensive touchdowns or special teams touchdowns, I still don't see us pulling it off. How sad is it that we were in the Big Ten West Championship last year and we went, 10-3? And we're about to be 3-4 halfway through the year. What happened?
We never even should. What happened was we shouldn't have even been in the Big Ten Conference Championship last year. You look at. It's so hard to see too, because when we played Michigan this year, it was a viable game. It was 27 to 13 or something, 14. Like a close game,
14.
like nothing. Yeah, 27-14. Nothing crazy. That's a 2-possession game. That's exactly what I'm saying. Number 3 team in the country, 2-possession game. Last year, it was the same story. I think Michigan was number 3 or 4. We played them in the championship. That was 42-3. We had more wins last year. We had a better record. We had a better offense or better team. But did we? because from what I'm seeing from last year to this year, at least in that one game alone, like, we almost seem better now. At least defensively, I think the defense is a lot better now. Offense has probably gotten worse, but I don't think we ever deserved to be in that championship game. A part of me is almost more disappointed that we were in that championship game, just having seen the final score. It's kind of like Bears playing on primetime. I'm like, great, we're in the championship game. More people watch because there's no other Big Ten going on. They're watching the Big Ten championship. Lots of eyes on it. And Iowa just comes out, puts a field goal on the board, and proceeds to get curb stomped by Michigan. So I don't think we deserve to be there. We shouldn't have been there. I was a little sad to see it.
I agree. Do you think we're going to make a bowl game this year?
We would have to do a lot of things right. The offense would need to start stepping up a little bit. Our defense, as I've said a couple times now, our defense will be our best shot at making a bowl game, but the offense is going to have to do some scoring if they want to have a record that's justifiable for a bowl game.
I agree. Yeah, that's all I got. The Hawkeyes, man. Ugh.
The Hawkeyes, the Bears, everybody. Springville, Iowa. They are currently have not won a single game. So, yeah, rough football season for you boys.
Man, rough life. But yeah, I think that wraps her up, right?
Yeah. Go follow us on Instagram, subscribe to us on YouTube. Please reach out, show us the love. We appreciate it all the time. Avery, do you have anything else to say? Any last remarks?
I just got to say 2 words, and they're the same 2 words as every week. Bear down!